So today we are in last session we learn about what are objects, right? And some of the standard objects which are majorly used. So now today we are going to create some custom objects in Salesforce. Okay, so we are going to create two objects. One is position object. First one is position. So why we are creating this particular object? Okay, so track positions in all stages for the process. So let's consider that we have a hiring team. Okay, and for that hiring team, we are going to create some features in Salesforce. Okay, so from scratch, we are going to create each and everything. So the first thing which we are going to create is position object. So let's create the object. So you might be on this setup page, right? So in this setup page, we'll go to the object manager. Object manager, and here you see all the list of objects which are currently present in the organization. Okay, and all these objects are standard objects as of now. There is no custom object created, so we are going to create our first custom object, which is position object. So for that, click on this create button on the right hand side, click on custom object. Okay, now we'll give label as position. Okay, object name it automatically take. So as per the label, it's a unique name for your object. Now we have to give the plural label. So here example is also given. Account, right? And plural is accounts. So here we are going to add positions. Label is position, plural label is positions. Description, you can enter. Like this object stores information about the open jobs at a company. Now, we'll scroll down and here you see another section which is enter record name, label and format. So this is the name field for our custom object, which is by default created when we create a object. Okay, so this is the name field and the name of that particular field is position name, right? Position name. If you want to change it into another name, you can change it, but by default it has taken a position name. Okay, and the data type is text. Here we have another data type which is auto number. So auto number is the feature from Salesforce. So if we select here as auto number, then we don't have to enter any value in that particular field. Whenever we create any record in the system, okay, Salesforce will automatically create number to it. Okay, but as of now, we want the name field as text field, which will be a box where we can enter some values, right? Why? Because when we are going to create the position record, that time we have to enter the name like Salesforce admin, right? Then Salesforce developer, Java developer, something like that. So data type is text. Okay. Now, in the optional feature, we have allow reports, allow activities, and track field history. So if you remember on first, uh, sorry, yeah, last session, when we went through the introduction of Salesforce, right? Introduction of Salesforce. So there I mentioned that we can track the field history, right? We can see who edited which field, what was the value earlier, and what is the new value. So that is possible using this feature, allow track field history. Okay, if this particular feature is disabled, then we cannot track any field history. But these are optional features, right? Allow report, that means now we can create reports on it. If you deselect this, okay, then we don't have the ability to create a report on it. Same for activities, okay? But these are optional features. So even if you don't select this at the time of object creation, and later on, let's say if you feel like these features are needed, right, then you can always come back to the settings and you can always enable this particular feature. Okay, as of now I'm enabling it. I will keep it as it is. I will not going to touch it. Then deployment status, it is very important. Sometimes what happens is when we create this, okay, in real time, or so we create it with the status as in development, right? We create it with status as in development. um, and then what happens is when we give access to the users to that particular object. Okay, now let's say I have given access to the users. My users should be able to have access and they should be able to create records. But instead what happened, they don't see that particular object name in the name list, okay, in app launcher. So why it is happened? Because the status is in development. If you want your user to access it, okay, then you will have to change the status as deployed. Always remember that. Change the status as deployed. If you are selecting this in development, then once your work is done, everything is correct, everything is set in the system, and now you want to give access to your user. Before that, just change the status to deployed. Okay. Then it's the search setting, so we can search it in global search. And now this particular option, add notes and attachment, related list to default page layout. Okay, this particular feature is only available when you create the object. Okay, once you once you create the object and later on, let's say if you want to add this particular feature, it's not possible because this is only available when you create the object. So instead we have another option which is called files. And soon I guess Salesforce will going to deprecate this notes and attachment, and only files will be there, but I'm not sure exactly when, but I think so. And this particular checkbox is to launch the custom tab wizard. Now what is custom tab wizard? So you see here these 9 dots on the left hand side, it's called app launcher, right? When I hover over on this, it shows that it's app launcher. So here, uh, let me open any application. Okay, so here we have different tabs, right? Leads tab, opportunities tab, then accounts, contact, right? So these objects are present, and Salesforce has by default created tab for those objects. Okay, and that tab is added in that particular application bar. So when you create the object, right? When you create the object, but if you don't create tab, okay, then you won't be able to add that particular tab here. So sometimes this question also arises that I have already created object. If I go into the setting, I can see that object is already present. The status is deployed, but still I'm not able to add that particular tab or object over here. Why? Because tab is not created. Okay, but even if you forget to create tab from object creation, you can always create it later on. Okay, let me show it to you how. You have to go to setup. Here, enter tab, click on tabs. And here you see custom object tab. From here you can create the tab. Okay.
Yes,
Now,
we have to give the same name, right? Position if we uncheck
yes.
that. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Then what happens is when you create a tab, and let's say you can only create one tab for one object. Okay, we cannot create multiple tabs for one object, only one tab per object. So right now we don't have any custom object, so that's why it is showing as blank. Even if I go here and click on new button, it will not going to show, sorry, it will not going to show any object. Okay. So let's create it from here. So remember what we have entered: label, plural label, then record name, data type. We have selected this optional feature. We have selected deployment status as deployed. We have selected allow set and the other two optional features. Save. Now once I save this, it will automatically redirect me to tabs page. Okay, and will ask to create tab. So now it is showing object as position by default. Why? Because only one custom object is created in the system. Okay, we do not have any list of custom objects, so that's the reason it is showing only one and position. So I'm going to select tab style here. Where did it go? Okay, there's anything we can select. Next, this is the security setting. Okay, where it says that this tab will by default on for all the profile here, for all the profile. But in real time scenario, let's say you only want to give this tab access to certain people, right, or certain profile, then what you can do is you can select the second one, right, and make it tab hidden to the profile, and only for that profile you need access, make it as default on. Okay, now you see here we have two different options: default on, default off. So what is the meaning of that? Default on means also this tab will be visible to users, and default off means also this tab will be visible on user, right? But the only difference is when it is default on, you will be able to see it here and only in here, app launcher. That's it. That's the only difference. So now I am making it as default on for each and every profile. Next. Okay, and these are all the applications in the system. So it asks whether to add that particular tab in the application or not. Save and done. That's it. Our custom object is created. Position object we have created, right? As I said earlier, we can always come back to this settings and we can enable these three options: enable or disable. So let's go here. Okay. In the object manager, now you will be able to see a position object. Okay, so I will quickly search that, and you see position object and API name here. It's showing underscore underscore C, right? So all the custom things which you create in Salesforce, okay, those things API name will end as underscore underscore C. If you see the standard one, okay, it will have the exact same API name as label, right? But the custom one will always have underscore underscore C, and it is by default it takes. Okay, we don't have to add it, right? When I created this custom object, I only given position name label as position, and object name it has automatically taken, right? So there on that particular page, it shows as object name, but it is API name. And when we save that particular object, Salesforce will automatically add this underscore underscore C. Okay, let's go to the object. So we created object, we created tab, and now that tab is available for us to use. So I'm going to refresh the page. Okay, now it is showing position tab, right? So I'll click on it. It doesn't have any records as of now because it's a newly created object and empty one, right? So now when we are going to create a new record in the system, so I'll click on this new button, and you see we only have position name field. Okay, we do not have any other field. Why? Because we have not yet created any field in that particular object. Only position name, and that field is by default created when we created the object. Okay, so here we can enter position name and click on save. Okay, that's it. So now let's create the fields for our position object. So as you know, fields are columns, right, in a database. So in fields, we can store the information for any particular record, like position, name, and other fields. So these fields, right, here also we have two different types of fields. One is standard field and second is custom field, right? So standard fields means the fields which are by default comes from Salesforce. So now if I go to fields and relationship here for this particular object, you will see that these are all standard fields, right? Created by, last modified by, then uh, owner field and position name field. All these 4 fields are by default created by Salesforce at the time of object creation, and these are standard fields. Okay, so we cannot delete these standard fields. We do not have option to delete, right? You see here, we do not have any option, and for positioning I can only edit it, but I do not have any option to delete it. Okay, we can only change the label name, right? But we cannot delete it. Okay, only the fields which are created custom, okay, those fields we can delete. Custom fields we can delete it.
We can change the label of the fields, right? Or
Yes.
custom field label also we can change.
Yeah, that is the custom, right? You can do anything with that.
Standard, standard field labels we cannot change. Sorry.
Standard fields label we can change, but we cannot delete it.
Okay.
Okay. So as I was saying, yeah, we cannot delete standard field, but we can delete the custom field. Now let's create some fields for our newly created object, which is position. So first field I'm going to create is status field. Okay, so status field will have some options, okay, like a drop down options, and from those options user should be able to select one option like this. If I go to account, and you see this rating, okay, if I click on this, it shows some drop down option, and from this option I can select only one option. So exactly same field we have to create it on the position object. Okay, so for that, remember that I am on this fields and relationship, but if you are creating, let's say if you are not on the object, right, and if you are in any particular record or application, then how you can go there. So steps are exactly same. Click on this setup here, click on setup, go to object manager, search for that particular object, click on that object, and then click on fields and relationship. So here you will find all the fields which are present in that particular object. Okay, now we'll create the field. So for that I will click on new button. So once I click on new button, a data type page will gonna show up. Okay, data type page show up. Okay, in that particular page we have different types of options, like if you want to create any checkbox type of field or currency type of field, date field, then we have text field. Okay, so when you create a field, you'll have to select the appropriate data type. Okay, and then that field uh, will have that appropriate data type. So right now we need to create a status field which will have a drop down value. So for that we have a data type which is called pick list. Just give me a moment. Pick list. Okay. So Salesforce has also given description as well beside that data type. So it says allow users to select a value from the list you define. Okay, that means we have to define some list, and then it will gonna show up as drop down for the user, and user will be able to select one value from it. If the requirement is slightly different, let's say that user should be able to see multiple values, right? uh, Also they should be able to select multiple values. In that scenario, we might have selected a different data type, which is pick list multi-select, right? And it also has a description which says allow users to select multiple values from the list you define. Okay, so if the requirement is to select multiple values at once, then you need to create a field with multi-select list data type. Okay, but as of now, we have only a requirement to select only one value at a time. So we'll select pick list. Next. Okay, now we'll give the field label as status, and here we have to enter the values, okay, each with separated by a new line. So just see how I'm going to enter the values. In this box, we'll have to enter like this, okay. New position, pending approval, open approved, close fill, close not approved, close cancel. Okay, these are the options which I want to give or define for this particular field. Okay, now you can also display this values alphabetically, but I do not want that. I want in the exact same order which I have entered here. Okay, uh, if any um, requirement is there to define any value for that particular pick list, so that whenever we create a record, it should have that particular value, then we can use the first value as default value, right? Name, it has automatically taken as status. You can give the description. Help text is something like that for users to understand what that particular field is, right? And what they have to do. For example, like this, okay, it's showing I beside this particular box. It also shows help text, all shows like this. So when I hover over on this, it shows some display text. So what it says, this text display on details and edit pages when user hover over the info icon next to this particular field. Okay, and we can also make this field as required field, so that when users will creating any record, right, that time, where did it go position, yeah, that time that particular field is required or mandatory, and we have to select a particular value exactly like the position name, this position name. But I don't want this field as required, so I'm not going to select it. Now, next. Okay, this is a field level security. Using this, we can define which particular profile should have access to that particular field, whether it is only a read only, or they should also have edit access. So if they only need read access, then we can select read only. Okay, but if they also need read as well as edit access, then we select here as visible. So this in detail we are going to learn in security module. But as of now, understand that when you check this particular checkbox, okay, that gives the access to that profile for that particular field as read and edit, and users will be able to edit that particular field. So I'm not going to make any changes here. I'll just keep it as it is default, and then next, and then lastly we are adding that particular field in layout. Okay, that means here Salesforce will by default add that particular field in this particular page and save. Okay, right. So you see the status field is created and field name by default it has taken underscore underscore C, right? And here, if I just scroll down, you see the options as well which we have given. So let's go here, cancel this and refresh the page. Let's test this. Okay, so now status field is showing the values and I can select any one value right from the defined list. So similarly, you can create date field, then checkbox field, then currency field, right? Text field. If you want to create um, a field where you should enter, let's say, a long text, right, or 2 to 3 lines in that particular field, then we have option to create long text field. Okay, here you see text field. When we create a text field, okay, the default value for that particular text field is 255 characters. For text area also we have 255 characters. Okay, it is by default set from Salesforce, but we have this particular field which is text area long, which has these many characters. Okay, like a paragraph you can add it over there. Okay, any question till here? Yes.
The
Okay.
drop down, won't be the salesperson or the person who's using it will not be able to see the drop down except for the administrator, right?
This particular drop down, right? So this we have created for users only, right? So when users are creating a record for that particular object, see, now we have a hiring team and those user needs to save the position record, right? Open position, close position records in the system. But as of now, we do not have any standard object which fulfills our requirement, right? For that reason, we have created our custom object as position and we have added necessary fields there. So when users, let's say hiring team is creating the records for new position, they will be able to select the values from here, add values, select values from this drop down field. Now let's consider that sales team does not have object to this position object, right? Does not have access to position object and its field, so they won't be able to select it or add new records in it. But the users who have access to it, they will be able to do it. So from admin standpoint, what we are doing is we are creating features in Salesforce so that our non-admin users can use them in their day-to-day life. So this they can see, this they can select, right? But they do not have any privileges to go into the setup, right? And check all these details. Like these fields, what is the data type, something like that. They do not have any privileges to see the back end. They can only see front end and access that if we have given them the option or access. If we are not giving them access, and if we, let's say, just only give them read only access, in that scenario they won't be able to select it anything here. They will only be able to view it, right? There might be some, in some cases, where user does not need any edit access for that any particular object. They only need read access so that they can only look at the info. That's it. So in that scenario, they will only be able to view it. But if user has edit access, then they will be able to select these values, any one of the value. Right? I think that was your question.
Yes, yes, that was my question. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay. So we have to create two objects. One is position and second one is candidate object. So I think now you will be able to create the other object as well. So when we will provide you the assignment, when we will give you the assignment, it will have like a step-by-step info that what you need to create, right? What step you have to take, what description you have to give. Okay, then when you create the fields, so for fields as well, we have given the um, information that what should be the field name or table, what should be the data type. If the data type um, um, is, let's say, pick list, then the values are also given. And if it is text, then character limit is also given. So each and everything is given in that assignment. Okay, just go through it and create these two objects in the system and fields as well in the system, so you will have a understanding of it. And then later on, what we will do, we will learn about the application creation in Salesforce. So once the application is ready in the system, then we will add these two objects which are created, okay, position and candidate, in that application, and throughout this course we are going to use that particular application. Okay, so it's the basic one, which is object creation, app creation, and other thing. So I would suggest please create this in your Salesforce developer app. Any other question, guys? Okay. I'm going to stop the screen sharing. Okay. So yeah, that's it for today. I know this is a very small topic, we can say, and but it is very important because throughout this course, this is the base one, right? And throughout this course we are going to use these objects, okay, till our last class. So it is very important, so please create these objects in the system. in your system, and if you have any questions or doubt, or while creating, let's say you are getting any error or something like that, then you can reach out to us, or we can in the next class also we can see those issues. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, that's it for today, guys. Let's
You'll be sending the assignment on the WhatsApp group?
yes,
Okay.
so download it from there.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Mhm.
We will get the recording by tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Okay.
So we upload it once it is ready. Okay. So I believe today only we will be uploading. There might be delay in some cases. Okay. But mostly we try to do it on the same day. I mean, for our same day. So for you, it's tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. If no question, then I think we can good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Mhm.
Thank you. Good night.
Right.